Good evening, everyone. And for those of you who have joined us from Canada, a very good morning to you. We hope everyone is keeping good health. I'm Shivani Yadav. And on behalf of the CEO of the Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, Ms. Nadira Hamid, I welcome you to today's session, which is You Always Win When Fitness Comes First. Keeping in mind the current health crisis around us, we thought it would be apt to have a session that could inspire us, motivate us, give us some hope, and show courage in the face of adversity. I would here also like to make a brief mention that ICBC is the only bilateral chamber in India. We are dedicated towards building and enriching ties between India and Canada. Our latest endeavor being the India Canada COVID collaboration platform on the official website of ICBC, which is icbc.org.in. Through this platform, we have tried to shed light on a few NGOs, individuals, and support groups who are engaged in COVID relief work at the grassroots level. Please do take out time to visit this page and donate or offer support in whichever manner you can. You may also write to us at our official email address, which is icbc@icbc.org.in. Without further ado, I would like to hand you over to the chairperson of our Maharashtra Regional Council, Mr. Apurva Mehta. Please have a lovely session. Apurva, over to you.
Thank you very much, Shivani, and hi, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. And importantly, hope you are keeping well, both you and your friends and relatives and loved ones. Which actually is the thought behind today's session. We have two very accomplished individuals. I'll speak about them in a minute, but once again, welcome everybody. On behalf of the Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, and also on behalf of our CEO, Nadira Hamid, and our National President, Anita George, both of whom haven't been able to join today, but extend their warmest welcome to all of you. So thank you again for joining. As I said, this is very topical that we are going to explore today. What is it that we all can do to manage our fitness, manage our health during this very troubling times. As I said, we have two very distinguished people with us as my co-panelists. While you have their introductions with you, I do want to point out that as over the next hour, as we go deeper, you will feel that you will, I think, believe that a lot of it is actually cannot even be covered in so a few paragraphs of introduction. Nihad, for instance, Nihad Panju, who is based in Mumbai, has a remarkable story of how he overcame some challenges that he had while as a child. And while some of got himself into the mode of running and taking part in physically very challenging, very tough competitions and tournaments. And his story is being heard now by people. He's invited into to deliver TED Talks. He's a prolific speaker. He's been covered by the media, and there are so many aspects of what he does that is inspiring the next generation of people to take up sports and fitness and make their lives better. Similarly, Dinesh Laungani, we go back a long way. We went to college together. Don't hold that against him. He is also a very accomplished runner, cyclist, swimmer, tennis player. I'm sure there are a number of other sports that are there under his belt, not just as a participant, but often taking part in tournaments and winning. And he does this differently. If it's cycling, he runs several hundred kilometers. He runs like some 1,500 kilometers, as if just cycling around the block, around the neighborhood is not enough. He does it in hundreds of kilometers. Similarly, the Ironman tournament that he has run. I was reading about it. Even reading about it made me exhausted, right? So it starts with 3.86 kilometers, 2.5, almost 2.5 miles of swimming, then about 112 miles, which is over 180 kilometers of cycling, all of which actually counts as the warm up to running a full marathon after that, which is 42.2 kilometers. I was thinking that maybe all of this is done over a month, but then I realized as I ran that this is all done simultaneously, one after the other. And that is the kind of running and that is the kind of endeavor, extreme sports that Dinesh participates in. So I'm going to jump right into some questions that I have for both of our panelists. Nihad, I will start with you. Tell us something about your childhood and, more importantly, the transformation that happened. What inspired you? What was the voice inside you telling you to take up fitness and take up running and extreme sports as a way of doing what you wanted to do, Nihad? You are on mute, Nihad.
Thank you for the introduction to start with. Um, um, it all started when I was 5 months old. I was diagnosed with a brain injury. Fast forwarding to when I was 10, I began a holistic neurological reorganization and stimulation program. It involved 10 to 12 hours of physical. I mean, part of the program was very physical. I used to crawl 2 miles, creep a mile and a half, hang, anti-gravity, a bunch of different things. After graduating from the program 4.5 years later, I found the need to stay fit. So I joined the gym. At the time, soon after I joined, my trainer was training a bunch of people and himself for the marathon, for the Standard Chartered Marathon back in 2012. And I began running with them rather. And I think that's how it all started. So I think the program kind of set me up for later when I graduated from the program.
And how long did it take for you to actually start this program and your first competitive tournament?
So I mean, I did a bunch of different therapies. Like my parents, they would hear about different things and do that. I spent the first 9.5 years doing physiotherapy, biofeedback, a bunch of different things. But the actual improvement started setting in when I was 10, when I started this program, because we learned that a hurt brain can't be fully fixed, but there is a way to manage life with it. So I think, to answer your questions specifically, I think I started the program in 2000, and 2004 I finished the program, and I ran my first. So I trained, and I started training for my first marathon in 2011, and 12 I ran it.
Oh, it was a long journey. I mean, it didn't just happen overnight or in a few years. So it took a lot of perseverance for you, a lot of determination for you to continue doing that. That's very admirable.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, let's hear from you, Dinesh. You run as your day job, you run your family business. But all of this training, all of these tournaments take a lot of time. So what motivated you to get into all of this? I mean, can you not make many more industrial radiators? Why do you need to do all this running and cycling and swimming, Dinesh? You're on mute, Dinesh. still on mute.
Okay. Good evening. Good morning to some friends and good evening to some in India. Thank you, Apurva, for having me on this talk. And I think I have been from a family where sports has been part of our life. So right from beginning, my dad also was into sports, and my brothers and I also got into playing tennis and badminton. So I think it was just a natural part of me. And I enjoyed skipping my classes for sports. So I think that was a big motivating factor for me to spend some more time at sports.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So different ways of arriving at this. In your case, it was the opportunity to skip classes at college. So no, that's fine. Whatever works for people.
Right.
But what led you to these extreme forms of sport? This epic running and epic cycling and epic swimming and everything else that you do in epic proportions. What was the journey like towards that, Dinesh?
Basically, nothing very dramatic, and it all happened very smoothly. It's just like for me, it was like just getting into a boat and going across the stream. I had a friend who told me asked me whether I wanted to run a marathon, which was being held for the first time in Mumbai. So a school friend asked me, so I said, yeah, why not? No big deal. Not that I'd ever run more than 5 kilometers, but this time it was a 21 thing, first time in Bombay. So that's where it all started, when I got into running marathons for over a period of time, and then came across some friends who were into cycling. So they asked me, why don't you join our group? So it was as easy as that, because there were friends all around. And after playing tennis for quite many years and playing badminton, and then I enjoyed running the marathons, then joined a cycling group. Fortunately, everything was a fun thing. It was never adventure for me, or nor did I have to wake up at 5 a.m. or nor did I have to struggle to get into all this. No such story from my side. It was very relaxing, and the opportunity to go out with friends and have a cutting chai in the morning with some vada pav is that was for me the biggest motivation, and then things just happened.
Good. No, good to know. So we obviously this all came natural to you, but also importantly, you thoroughly enjoyed doing all of this.
Right.
That is I think an important takeaway for us, that if we start enjoying doing those activities that help us manage our health and fitness, then getting to good health and fitness will be that much easier. So thanks for that insight. And similarly with you, Nihad, I mean, what are some of the highs that you have had when you what are some of the great outcomes apart from, of course, those trophies and everything that you have, I'm sure, in your cupboard, but what made it all really worth it for you, Nihad?
I think it all started when I finished my first marathon. So it was back then, it was just an achievement to kind of finish it and in one piece. And but I actually made the qualifying time to qualify the next year. So that in itself was a highlight. And of course, the Devil Circuit, every second of it was thrilling. So the Devil Circuit is basically an obstacle course where you do a bunch of different obstacles over a 5-kilometer course. And just to point out one particular one, the last one is called Brain Freeze, where you basically come down a slide like a water slide, but you go into a pit of ice and you have to walk like a meter or two, no, a little more maybe. get out and then run to the finish line. So I think those were the two highlights.
Okay, no, that's great. That's great to hear. I'll stay with you, Nihad, and ask you about your fitness routine. And what do you do in a normal course? We'll go to the current situation later, but what generally do you do? What are those? What does your routine look like, Nihad? Not that
Sure.
many of us are going to try and emulate that, but we still like to hear from you.
My routine before COVID, so pre-COVID, it was going to the gym to do a gym workout twice or thrice a week, an outdoor workout, which is boot camp, twice or thrice a week, and then one long distance run, which is anywhere between 10 plus kilometers a week.
Okay. And how does it work out now for you, Nihad? It's given that we're in a lockdown.
So I essentially, what I've done is applied. So I use all these fitness apps when I travel. So I basically applied the fitness apps to my daily life now. And a few of them are like these ones called Creators Fit, Carrot, and 7. So you get a bunch of different workouts to choose from.
Okay.
And one of them has form correction, and it also allows my trainer to send me workouts.
Okay.
So yeah.
So a lot of technology is coming your way. There is a lot of technology.
Yeah, I mean, we all had to adapt, right? We all had to adapt, and yeah. So it's
and
whenever it's possible, I go for a walk or jog if I can. That would be my first choice. But if I'm locked down at home, then it's the fitness apps that I use.
Okay, and that lets you get all the inputs that you need from your trainer, from the devices. So all of that is useful.
Yep. I mean, it's the next best thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. It's never going to be the same as going into a gym or being out there. But
yeah,
it's the closest next best thing.
Yeah. But beyond the apps themselves, beyond the digital part of it, what else do you do? I mean, can you do some workouts at your home?
Freehand exercises.
Freehand exercises.
Freehanding. Yeah.
Okay. And how long do you do this for in a day or in a week? Do you have a set routine?
I work out every day, every single day.
Okay. Good. That's a note we all need to make. So keep going. So you work out every day. Okay. What about you? Thanks, Nihad. What about you, Dinesh? What is your normal non-COVID fitness routine like, and what is it that you do now under lockdown? Since you cannot go to those runs on the the forest of Thane.
Right. I am like a very seasonal guy, like the fruits. I'm a very seasonal guy. So if I have a marathon coming up, so probably 2-3 months before the marathon, every morning I would be out running. So my focus would be on that event. And if there is a cycling event happening, then at least for 2-3 months, I would be out in the morning cycling. And if there is nothing happening, then if I'm the lazy guy, then I will wake up a little late and I go for my game of tennis. And that game of tennis does not start without chai. So only if I get tea. So it's more of fun for me. Even my cycling happens only with the cycling group that we have in our town. And there too, tea and coffee. When we go, we ride to Matunga, where our college was, and then we meet over there for a cup of chai and snacks, and then we get back. So this is just a small part of my cycling group. We are a bigger group, but yeah, very close to all of these guys. And in fact, I've been inspired by most of these guys. All my activities, they've always been with me. And I somehow feel that if you have a good bunch of friends with you during your fitness activity, you are more regular, you will be less absent. So if you have a good bunch of friends with you, whatever activity you're doing, it could be running, cycling, swimming, or even walking for an hour. So if you have a bunch of friends or close family, I think it makes it more interesting and more fun.
So it's your friends, people whom you do this workout or all these routines with. They are motivating you. They are, everybody is picking each other up.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing I find.
Yeah.
If somebody is not disciplined like me, so if I'm not a disciplined guy, I am easily looking at my company, my friends, for the motivation. Yes, definitely a very big factor.
Yeah. So that again, it's a good takeaway for all of us, is to find the groups that we can become part of, and use the group motivation to keep us going. So that's another group.
Yeah, and you don't need to wait to form a group. You have to go out initially for a couple of weeks, and automatically you will find whatever activities you do, any fitness activities. That's why it's important to learn one sport. Apurva will not agree, I know, but it's important to learn a sport, and you can make friends anywhere in the world, and you have their company. They make one of the best friends, I think.
So, I mean, since you mentioned me, I do watch a lot of sport on TV, but I don't think that counts as far as.
No, it does not count.
No, that doesn't count. Okay. You actually have to go out and do it.
Go out, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what do you do now, Dinesh, now under this lockdown? You can't go to your runs at Blue Hills.
Right. So definitely missing the forest area. Fortunately, we had individual runs happening, maybe not in groups, just one or two of us, but then we would see each other on the road. So that was interesting. And then sometimes, some months, we ensured that we could cycle when it got a little easier on the law part. So we were able to cycle a bit. But then again, once you can't cycle in groups, then we tend to do it alone. But then I have found a way, being in the business also of trading in fitness goods, we have something called the indoor trainers, which we had started that business 2 years back. And then fortunately, since the last year, it suddenly took off. And so those are indoor trainers. You put your cycle on the trainer and you ride in any part of the world. You can virtually ride in any part of the world. And it gives you maybe not the same pleasure as cycling outdoors, but you sit on your own cycle and ride a route in front of a screen. And it's equally a good exercise. You sweat it out. And you can do that with a bunch of your friends. A lot of people can get together and ride the same route. And so that's how we kept ourselves on the path of fitness. And in October, November, then we had tennis courts opened up. So a couple of months we were able to get back to tennis. And so fortunately for me, I get bored of the same thing repeatedly. So as I said, I'm a seasonal guy. So that keeps me on my track of fitness, different sports every 3-4 months. And then finally, there are times when I become very lazy. As the second lockdown came in, which was strict, so I was at home for 15-20 days. But after being at home, it got to me, and then I started going down for walks. So got the people of my apartment complex to join for walks within the complex itself. We have a garden. So yeah, we keep doing something. I can't stay indoors.
not an indoor sky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me, before I turn to Nihad, knowing you and speaking to you about the tournaments that you run, I found it very interesting. I think it was in South Africa where you were running the Ironman. And from what I recall was that as soon as you went into the water, the swimming is the first part. And as soon as you went into the water, there was a rock which I think cut your feet, and you needed to get some medical aid, and you had some stitches. But after that, you did all the running, you did all the cycling, and you did the full marathon. So, what was your inner voice telling you, Dinesh? Why not just discontinue, and why would you carry on despite having stitches on your foot, Dinesh?
Yeah, it was Malaysia actually, Langkawi
Okay.
Island and Malaysia. So you were allowed to go into the water for about 10-15 minutes before the start of the swim to get warmed up, to get the feel of the water. So that was not part of the route, but just adjacent. And then I walked up and both my feet hit rocks, which I didn't know there was rocks and there was no warning there. Yeah. So it was bleeding and yeah, but never in my mind, it never came to my mind that I cannot do it. The only thing in your mind was you have to start swimming now. The only thing was how to go about it. There was a medical station who just taped it up, and I realized it won't last. So, but once you get started, I think then any athlete or any sportsman, I think they forget about the pain.
Yeah. So the important thing is just to get going. So I read somewhere for people like you who run marathon, is that the most difficult run or the most difficult distance to cover is from your bedroom to the door of your house. Once you cross that distance, when you get out of the house, well, then you are actually going to start.
Absolutely true. I tell people, if you want to do an event, just sign up and reach the start point. You've done 50%.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Just
Showing
sign
up
up and reach the start point. Right.
Yeah. That's important. Nihad, what about you? I mean, I'm sure all of these.
I agree with him completely.
So, were there some situations where it would have been, it would have seemed okay for you not to have continued in that particular tournament, but you still went ahead and you completed?
Yeah, the Devil Circuit.
Circuit, yeah.
It's tough because it's not only fine. Exercising is also mental as much as it's physical. So, like I mentioned earlier about the brain freeze obstacle.
Yeah.
The coming down into that ice pit is not going to hurt you, but that sheer cold is what scares you. So, the Devil Circuit.
Tell us more about the Devil Circuit. What are the things that you have to do? I've seen pictures. You are climbing over stuff, and it looks all very, very challenging.
So I can name a few. One is brain freeze, like I said. One is where you do monkey bars, which you basically hang, and with your arms, you're basically going over a distance. Then there's one where you basically climb up a triangular thing, which is netted. So you basically have to climb up, and you're basically running, or you're basically covering that 5-kilometer distance on rough ground, which is rocky, which is uneven. And so apart from the obstacles, you're also have to focus on where you're stepping, because if you step badly, you can twist one of the things you can do is twist your ankle, and then your whole race is gone through the toss. So
there's a question that Dave has posed during the minute or few minutes when you're walking through eyes on the devil circuit. How do you manage to control your nerves, Nihad?
I mean, once you're in there, you just need to focus on getting to the end, because the longer you're in there, the quicker you're getting numb. So when I got out of there, I was numb, waist down, and I had to kind of be dragged by someone till I got my until I got sensation back and got my movement back to finish the run.
Wow, that's even hearing the description, sends chills up our spine, Nihad. So we can not even imagine what it must be to actually do it. Now, with both of you, now I want to shift gears and take our audience through to some insights and some suggestions or recommendations from both of you. So what should the normal regular people like us should be doing, especially during this pandemic, to keep ourselves fit? So I'll start with you, Dinesh. If you can share some recommendations, what would you recommend that we do to stay healthy, Dinesh?
Yeah, basically I will take you as an example and then tell if somebody has not been into sports or not been very much into sports, then I think a good walk for 45-50 minutes is good enough to start off with, and as you keep doing it regularly, you increase the pace, but nothing to not to be harsh on your body right from day one. So basically take it slowly, but as long as you are regular, I think that is the key to. And I think in India, all of us have been introduced to stretching exercises or partly to yoga. So I think once you do a lot of even a few yoga exercises before you start your walk and finish your walk, I think, and though it has to be very simple, you have to start slow and you have to start easy. Wherever you find that your body is being a little bit strained, I mean, that's the time you slow down. But the consistency, I feel, is the key. You have to make it a habit. Like they say, you do it for 21 days at a stretch and you've made it a habit. So I think the key is to do something for 3 weeks at a go.
So 3 weeks should be the first milestone. Whatever you take
so even up. Right. Walk or yoga exercises regularly. But that is important. And of course, as I always tell my friends, it's always good to eat, drink, and exercise.
Okay. Some of those we can do better than the other, but we'll take up the exercise recommendation also. Nihad, what would you recommend the rest of us do, especially during the pandemic?
I think Dinesh covered it perfectly. A brisk walk. I mean, it's also, there are two ways to look at this, right? If it's just keeping yourself going, then do a 45-minute to a 1 hour walk a day, or do yoga, or do something that keeps your body moving. But if you're looking at, for instance, running a 21-kilometer marathon, it's go the 3-week way of getting to that habit. And I think I have to agree, 50%, the hardest part is getting started.
So that's
like for me, for example, I find it lazy to put on my shoes and socks. But once I do that, I'm fine.
So that step is important. just getting going.
That's 50% of the battle.
That's
50%.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Well, we have a number of people in the audience, and it's I think a good time to throw open this session for questions. You can either type if you want to speak. Just type, and we can just unmute you to be able to speak as well. But don't hold back. Go ahead with your questions. While people will come up with their questions, Nihad, you have a program, you have a plan in mind to inspire the next generation of fitness enthusiasts. Would you like to share a little bit about that, Nihad?
I think you need to realize what you like doing, be it running, be it tennis, be it golf, be it something as simple as walking or running. Don't get, to put it very, very briefly, don't let other people tell you can't do it. Or it's not possible. Because even with me, my first year running, I was distributed. People came and told me, fine, he was very supportive, but at the back of their minds, they were like, still, there'll be many more 21s. Why this? Take it easy. But if you don't push yourself, you won't achieve. So, simply put, it's more figuring out what you like doing and drowning out everyone else.
Okay. And what about some of the things that you are doing in the community, Nihad, to help people, especially those who are unprivileged?
So a few years ago, it's stagnant right now, but a few years ago, I tied up with a few cancer organizations to raise funds for them. So I actually, one of the things I did was I organized a race, a walk and run, a 5-kilometer distance, and the registration, what they paid for the registration would go to these organizations.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's a great work of supporting the community. Dinesh, you are also active in a number of coaching, mentoring initiatives. Maybe you'd like to share some light about that.
I always love to see people play a sport, and if there is an opportunity that comes my way, I do my bit. I had with my connects, I had collected a lot of badminton rackets and distributed it to the municipal schools in Thana city. And I realized that the racket itself would not be alone. So we bought the net poles and the net. And once I found that they were able to mark out a tennis court, once I had given the size, then we would also help them, give them the net poles and the net and the shuttlecock. So at least those municipal schools could have all these facilities and children would be able to play. And I just love to do it. And there was an opportunity through Decathlon when they had space, and I said, a couple of weekends we'll come and teach children under 10 how to play tennis over a couple of weekends. And then they had helped us set up the infra, and anybody walking into the store and children below 10 at least got introduced to the sport of tennis. So it's always good. Then there are some players these days who get an opportunity to represent the country, but they have to pay for the airfare. Then we do get along with our friends to collect money and contribute. to. And in my during the marathons, I voluntarily pace a lot of people to achieve their targets. To finish the marathon. So every organizer these days have some what they call as pacers who
Yes.
are given a specific time targets, and they will the marathoners will reach out to these pacers and they will help them finish. So that's what I did for many years, and I love doing that. I will continue to do that for many years. Yeah.
So you're
And,
helping other people complete their marathon.
Yeah. And lot of things, very small ways, getting people to stay connected over a sport, to organize some tournaments. So a lot of things, yeah. But I think that's just so that I am involved with the sport and I enjoy it, and I love people around, just in the morning playing or running, or whether it's cycling. So that's interest, and that keeps me also motivated to stay active.
That's wonderful, and good to hear that so many people are getting inspired, getting supported through you and your friends. Dinesh, you mentioned about kids, and there is a question here from Poonam. I know that both your sons are also avid sports people, and they cycle with you and they run with you. So Poonam's question is actually on the same line. What should kids do right now? Everybody is at home. Kids are also at home. What should kids do since they cannot go out and play with each other?
Very difficult question. I think a lot of parents are now looking for answers. And I sure don't have answers to that, because not for every child, but of course my son is, he has his indoor trainer bike at home. So he does that almost every weekend and sometime during the day, and also gets a lot of cyclists from the town to join that virtual ride. And yeah, there's not much they can do. I don't think yoga is too interesting for them, for the kids, but that's something during these lockdown. It's really, I think, I personally feel it's the toughest for these children.
Yeah.
And the senior citizens, two sets of people, it's going to be really tough to stay at home.
Yeah.
People like us will still go for a walk within the complex, but it's tough for children, and I don't think we have answers. We have to look at the mass population, like what can those kids do? Fortunately, I have a open public ground just behind our complex. So from my balcony, I can at least see some children playing cricket or football on that ground. It is always so much fun to hear children play. For me, it's music. If I can hear children play on the grounds, there's nothing like that. And I really hope that children get back to the playgrounds at the earliest.
Absolutely. And Nihad, have you been asked to advise kids about how they can stay healthy, especially during the pandemic?
I don't know. I mean,
are your cousins following you in the same direction of sports? What do they take away?
Yes, they actually. So, two of my cousins are 18 and 14, and they are using apps, and like this little window where you had tennis courts and badminton courts open, we used to go and play. But for the most part, right now, it's at home and doing like freehand exercise at home. It's the only thing I can advise.
We have some questions. So thanks for that, Nihad and Dinesh. We have some questions coming through. I think Mr. Rajiv Bhatia wanted to speak. Is Mr. Bhatia's mic on? Mr. Bhatia, are you able to speak?
He has unmuted himself, but I don't think we can hear him.
Okay, I think there is some static, so maybe there is some technical issues. So, Mr. Bhatia, maybe you can just type in your question and we'll take this up. Mr. Bhatia, yeah, okay, so it's just got better. Well, that's because you put it on mute. So I think, yes, so if you can just type your question, Mr. Bhatia will relay it to the two panelists. But otherwise, I think, Mr. Bhatia, there is a lot of static when you turn your mic on. So we'll do the offline mode with you, Mr. Bhatia. Anyone have any other questions? I know there are a few names that I can see here. Those who are themselves runners. There is Shanti and there is Akhil. Do you guys have any questions? Anything anything you'd like to share? Go ahead, Shanti. You're up next.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much a runner myself, love to run. But during the course, I sustained some injury to my knee, after which it kind of became very difficult for me to get back mentally and say, okay, I can do it. Of course, I agree with all that Dinesh said and Nihad said as well, that you need that little bit of a push and shove and say, okay, let's do it, and the group and the fun and all of that. I just wanted to ask Dinesh that if ever you did sustain an injury, and I hope to God it's a no, but if you did, how did you bounce back? What was that set of things that you put in your head to say that, okay, now I know there's an injury and now I'm going to bounce back? How did you do that, Dinesh? I don't know if Dinesh heard the question.
Yeah, Shanti, good evening.
Hi.
Yeah. I generally don't push myself too much. Very rarely have I pushed myself. I enjoy, as I said, most of my sports, I have a lot of fun. And there have been a couple of times where I have had injuries. And there, I know 1 year, complete 1 year, I was playing tennis and I was running with knee pads on. And but I continued to do a little bit of tennis and running with the knee pads on. Did go to the gym and do a little bit of strengthening. That was the only time I visited the gym because I knew I had to do a little bit of strengthening exercises. But after 1 year or so, then I was off the knee pads. There was a year when I could not run. Anything over 1 kilometer, I could not run because of some pain in my leg. So I had a marathon in January, and this pain started coming in October. So I still showed up at the start line. I was not sure whether, anyway, I had not practiced, so I had nothing to lose. I said, let's go and walk the entire distance. And in say 3 or 4 kilometers, I had no problems with my leg, and I finished running the full marathon, which I had not expected. Actually, after 1.5 kilometers, I decided that I might as well go back to the start line because it's closer now. But after a couple of kilometers and meeting some friends on the way, after 4-5 kilometers, by some magic, I had no pain and I finished my full marathon. So yeah, I've been lucky that way.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, no, that's good. Akhil, you have a question? Go ahead. Akhil, you ran a marathon in Toronto. That counts. That counts very much for this audience, Akhil. You get a special, star for that.
Thank you, Apurva. Star from you is like the biggest star in the universe. So thank you very much. I just want to say that kudos to Dinesh as well as Nihad. Really nice to hear what both have to say. And I felt a little bit, Apurva, when you called out my name. Took me back to Podar, like when the teacher calls out an unprepared student. What's the answer to this question? Luckily, it's just a it's not so much a question, but beyond the kudos to Dinesh, really good to hear about how consistently you have done this, my friend, over the years and kept up and balanced it with your work as well. Because it's the business that you're in, sporting, which is your interest. Reminds me of a book that was written by some Stanford professors called Design Your Life, and you're very much living that, I think. So that's great to see that. And Nihad, good to hear of your achievements. Finally, I just want to say this to you, Apurva. Let's not say you're the sporting kind, because today you've definitely run the show very well. So thank you.
Thanks, Akhil. That's coming from
Perfect.
you. That's absolutely a compliment. Thank you. No, thanks for joining as well. I don't think we have any more questions coming in, and we are coming to the top of the hour. I'm going to do two things. I mean, this whole pandemic has hit a lot of us home in not nice ways, and some of us have unfortunately had close people who are close to us suffered during these times. We at the Chamber, we work very closely with the offices of the Canadian High Commission in India. One of the drivers who worked at the Consulate General here in Mumbai for over 25 years, unfortunately succumbed to the virus after braving it out for a month. So there is for brand Dipena, there is crowdsourcing efforts being on. We'll put the link here, and in case you know Brian, in case you like to know more about him, if you don't know him, there is some information on the link that you should be able to access. With that, I'm going to hand you over to Poonam, who will talk more about the broad work that we are doing in supporting the community. As Shivani mentioned, as the Chamber, we have taken this up as our very timely and very it's a privilege that we are being able to help our community. So over to you, Poonam, if you can share more about what the Chamber is doing to support the community during these times, Poonam.
So thank you, Purva, and thank you so much for this great discussion. And thanks to Nihad and Dinesh. This was really inspiring and motivational. We should, during the pandemic, not just sit at homes and think about opening up of the lockdown. We should just go for it. And one message that came out clearly from the discussion is, if you believe in yourself and if you are passionate about something, just go for it and don't think about any foundations, any limitations, just do it. So that's very, very motivational, and thank you so much. So one thing that I want to highlight in continuation to what Shivani said was about India-Canada COVID collaboration platform that we have created to help the NGOs who are doing the support, giving the support to these distressed communities and other people for, accessing the healthcare system, for food and nutrition, and many other things that this pandemic wave 2 has, how it has severely affected the communities. So how they are helping it, and this is the time when they are really needing support from us, from the companies, from individuals, wherein we can come forward and give support so that they can sustain and help these communities from the grassroots level. So this platform is basically to support NGOs, some groups which are support groups, and individuals who are into, doing the relief work, COVID relief work. So we have listed some non-profit organizations, some support groups, and the links for their websites, which has the links to donate. So I request all the viewers, all the attendees, partner firms and member firms to come forward and visit the page on ICBC website, our website, and just wholeheartedly donate and be a part of this drive, which is very, very meaningful. It's not just to just do a check mark on our list of things. It is really a thought through process which we thought will add value and will really help the on ground NGOs who are working, the support groups who are doing their effort to just sustain, move forward, and help communities as much as they can. So my request to all of you to please donate in whichever way you can.
Thank you, Poonam. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for joining us today, representing Anita George, our National Chair and CEO of CDPQ in India. And thanks for sharing this overview on what our chamber is doing to support communities through our various NGO and individual partners on ground. Thank you. And more information, as you said, is on our website, or any of us can also provide it to anybody who's interested among the audience. With that, I'm going to bring this to a close, but first and foremost, profusely thanking Nihad, you and Dinesh for joining us today, sharing your insights about your sporting and fitness trajectories, and also about things that you're doing to keep yourself fit, what we should do to keep ourselves fit, and your support to the sporting communities. Many thanks for taking the time. This has been very invaluable, as we keep saying during these times that where health and fitness comes first. So thank you very much, Dinesh and Nihad, for joining us and being with us. We'll close this, and there will be a recording available on YouTube as we normally do. So the people in the audience or anybody who has that might find this useful could be directed to the YouTube recording in the coming days. With that, we'll bring this to a close. And once again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you, Dave, for organizing this. Our CEO, Nadira, is not here, and I know she would have been very grateful for our two panelists to be here, and also for the audience to join us. So thank you, everybody, once again. And with that, we'll bring it to a close. Everybody, please stay safe, please stay healthy, and we'll connect again on next webinar soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Apurva. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thanks.